Hello and welcome to We Grow Wild. So this is going to be the first of a series of videos where I explore 100% cruelty-free silk fibers and yarns. I've read that silk has beautiful heat regulating properties. It can absorb a lot of moisture while still feeling drying on the skin. Therefore, it can be used all year round. So I'm very curious to see how it will feel to knit with this fiber and to wear the garments and see how my body will react to that type of fabric. So the cruelty-free silk is created by the fibers that are harvested from the cocoons after the chrysalids are allowed to mature into moths and butterflies. So the cocoons are empty, I would say, and they're kind of like a leftover product. So that's the cruelty-free aspect of it. I'm going to find companies that sell 100% cruelty-free silk yarns, buy their yarns and knit some projects with them. And I'm gonna bring you along with me. At the end of this mini series, I'm going to do a video where I sum up everything I learned and share with you everything I learned and the projects I've knitted. So if you're not interested in each single episode, you can just wait for the end video, let's say. So I'm very excited to start. I've already purchased some of the yarns and took some footage. So I'm gonna bring you back to that today, and make sure you subscribe to support this channel and to follow along this journey. And please do let me know if you ever knitted with cruelty-free silk yarn and your experiences, and if you would like to knit more with it. I'm thinking to do different little mini series with different plant-based or animal-based yarns that are maybe ethically produced, and see what it means and to knit with them, and you know, all of that processes. So let's just jump right into it, because my dogs are going crazy, and hope you'll enjoy it. Train going back home 2 hours ago. I decided to stop in Florence and meet a friend and go to Camponi Roberto Filati, which is this Italian local yarn store. It's a yarn company, and they create yarns from raw fibers. And I've used their yarns before. I bought, they look a bit weird, but I bought 2 colors. This beautiful coral, it's kind of like a red coral, 100% bull-wrapped silk, this cruelty-free silk yarn. It feels soft, but also very raw, very rustic. I really like this company. I met one of the owners of the company, and he was really kind, showing me around, and he told me that they source different fibers from different parts of the world, and then they kind of process these fibers in that building on top of the yarn store where I was. And it was so interesting because we talked also about, non-superwashed yarns, and he said that they have a lot of non-superwashed yarns, but in Italy the clientela, like the customers, that kind of superwash feeling. But they are really trying to change their policy, and they like to dye also their yarns with natural plant materials and natural colors, but not all of their yarns are dyed with natural colors or natural pigments. But that's what they are trying to explore, and eventually they would like to, be more sustainable. But their silk fibers are very natural, and they're cruelty-free. Okay, we're here again, and I've already couldn't resist. I've already casted on a little project with one of the yarns and the silk yarns that I purchased from Camponi Filati. So I've caked up both of the hanks I bought. Don't ask me why these are 3 and this is 1. It's the same yarn, same way. So I didn't know, because on the website, if you want to buy the Boret silk that they have, it comes in cones apparently. And so when I arrived there, I said, do you have silk cones? And they said, we have hanks, but if you want, we can cone them up for you. And I said, no, I have all the instruments to cake things up myself, so please give me the hanks. And they gave me 200 grams, I think I showed it in the footage, 200 grams of for each colorway of this silk Boret silk yarn, and I caked it up. And I decided to start with this beautiful brown. I think it's 100 grams, 480 or 450 meters. So this is over 900, over 800 meters. So it's quite a lot, 200 grams. So it would be more than enough to knit a top. Because I'm holding it double, I decided to hold it double for this project. So I'm taking the thread from the, from the center and from the side. So it's just coming from the same cake. And the project I decided to cast on is a camisole number 5, I think, by My Favorite Things Knitwear. So I thought, when I bought this pattern, I thought it was very non-size inclusive, so I kind of hesitated before casting on, but then I was a bit mistaken. So I checked, and it's not 100% super size inclusive, but it has a wider range of sizes. So I think she's taking steps to be more size inclusive. And the designer is My Favorite Things Knitwear. So I've already casted on the front and knitted a bit the front, and I'm knitting the back. So a little bit about this yarn. It's really nice to knit with, especially when I hold it double, because it gives a little bit more strength. I think it's kind of like a light fingering way yarn. All the yarns that I'll buy will be either light fingering or fingering way yarns. So that's interesting. Then I can kind of compare them a little bit more. And so this yarn, the Borat silk yarn, it's a little bit more irregularly spun, I would say, than other silk yarns that I've tried before. And it kind of has some sort of like good grip. That's also how they describe it on the website. So it's not very, silky. It's very kind of raw. It feels kind of very raw and very, it's not dry. It's like a mix of dry and soft at the same time. It has this kind of irregular texture, which I think gives some sort of character, and I really like how this is turning out. I've already chose the two other brands that I'm going to buy yarns from, so let's go and purchase the other yarns. Here we are buying some yarns. Okay, so the other two companies I decided to purchase their silk yarns from are Knitting for Olive and BC Garn. I found this German website that has both of them, so I'm gonna pay only one shipping and it's a little bit more environmentally friendly, not only cheaper. Okay, so the first company is Knitting for Olive, Pure Silk. The yarn is the Pure Silk and it's a 100% Borat silk, cruelty-free as well. I can link you all of the website so you can read more about these yarns. And these they sell their silk yarn in 50-gram balls, and each ball is approximately 250 meters. So all of the yarns, as I mentioned, are fingering or light fingering way yarns. Okay, the colors I really love of this yarn are the Dusty Artichoke. I mean, they're all beautiful colors, to be honest. So the Dusty Artichoke, very beautiful. I also love the Copper one, very classic. And I love this Raspberry Pink as well, even though, yeah, it's a little bit not really my style, I guess, but I really would like to try to knit in this pink. Then the other yarn we're gonna buy is from BC Garn and is the Jaipur Piece Silk. So this company has two more yarns that are silk yarns, but this is the only one, for what I read, that is cruelty-free silk. It's not the Borat silk, it's a airy silk, and they say that it's not as smooth and lustrous as mulberry silk, but it's like Borat silk, but a little bit more uniform. So it's going to be interesting to compare it to the other two brands which sell Borat silk. So let's wait for these yarns. Good morning. So I need to update you this project because it's a learning journey, of course. I joined in the round, I knitted a little bit the body, and this morning I tried it on and it didn't fit, it was too loose. And since we're talking about silk, the fabric that is going to be created with the silk, 100% silk yarn, is gonna become very drapey, is gonna stretch, you know, we're talking about silk, right? Even though, to be honest, this yarn looks very similar just in the look, not in the feel. But in the look, it looks very similar to a cotton linen yarn. But it has a lot more elasticity, at least this is how it feels. It's more soft. So I need to unravel part of the body, and I'm just gonna unravel until the armholes here, and just decrease a lot, maybe every other round, 2-4 stitches, so 2 stitches each side. I have to make adjustments, and I should have gauge swatched, to be honest, but we don't talk about that. I'm very curious to see how this fabric will behave with wear, because I mean, I know it's gonna stretch a little bit, but I'm concerned, since it looks and it feels very porous and very similar to a cotton yarn. The problem that I have with cotton is that fact that it doesn't really behave well with moisture. So if I'm sweating, it's gonna just absorb the humidity, the sweat, and just become very doughy. That's a word that Mikael used once with his own cotton t-shirt. It kind of like absorbs the moisture, but it doesn't dry out. It's just like becoming like a sponge, and it stays there. It's not pleasant, at least not for me. I don't like cotton for that. Whereas I love linen and hemp and bamboo as well, because even though they absorb a little bit of moisture, it doesn't feel like wet. It kind of dries out quickly. And silk as well, that's what I've read. But this fabric, being so porous and being so, soft, and I would use the word porous. Penetrable, it's another synonym. Sponge-like, spongiose, pory. Now we learned a new word. Those who didn't know this word, I bet many of you did, but yeah. But that's the way this feels like. It's not a very glossy and like smooth surface and fabric. So I'm very curious if it's going to behave like my other cotton tops and going to become like very spongy, or it's going to absorb the moisture and still feel dry. That's what I learned about silk, that it has really good heat regulating properties, as I said in the beginning of the video. We'll see. But I'm going to, unravel part of the body and just decrease a lot. Then, yesterday, I started just the collar. Another fun project. I've knitted this pattern twice, I think. So, with the other collar, this is going to be the Look at My Holes by James & Watts. And it's a really fun pattern to knit. It's very beautiful to wear it as well. I really like holy... I really like the look of it. And I've knitted it before. I'm very curious to see how this will turn out. So I'm going to end the video here. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you knitted with any of these yarns or with cruelty-free silk yarns. Please share it with us. As soon as I will receive the rest of the yarn, I'll create another video. So stay tuned for that, and see you next time.